thumbs up already. One person out there. Hey. I'll give it a minute. I hope you're all good. I hope you've all been having a cracking week wherever you are. Hampshire Outdoors and Survival. Mickey, it's Social Sunday. Hope people are going to enjoy this. I hope a few more turn up. If they do, they do. If they don't, hey, Celebi. Um, yeah, let's have a bit of fun. Let's just shut that down, shut that down, shut that down, shut that down. And it's just me on here. Lee Michael. Hey, I'm good, bud. Good to hear from you. I hope you're good. Everything okay your end? Life treating you good? Yeah, it's not too bad in this household. Blake, I've got to change his glasses, change the camera or something, because all I'm getting is reflection. Let's try and change the angle, see if that's... No, because he can't see me. That's no good. That's a little bit better. I'm sitting my head kicked over to one side all evening like that, giving it a weird look, you know. There's, yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm good. Been a hectic week. The video went. Oh, I can't do it. I can't sit like that all evening. Just tilt the glasses down. How's that? Yeah. So did the video. I was a bit worried about that video. Hey, wifey, how you doing? Love you very much. Lee, that's Caroline. Caroline, that's Lee. That's my good lady, the long-suffering Mrs. Mick. So yeah, the video this week I was really worried about because I wanted to do it, as you saw, like a scenario, and I wanted not to make it super realistic and all the rest of it, but I just get people thinking, you know, get them using their imagination, get them trying to think what they would do in that situation. And there's no rights or wrongs to it, as I'm always saying. You know, it's site specific and person specific. You know, it's no good teaching a one-armed guy how to climb a rope freehand, is it? So there we go. Hey, right. So I'm gonna just waffle, I suppose. So get my chair in a comfortable position, as you can see. Over that shoulder, no, that shoulder. Up there, we've got Murph the Smurfs with us. Yeah, veteran of the famous Smurf Wars. Found him in the woods. Wounded veteran he is. Got taken down by a dog, I believe. So he comes out on my ventures with me. And again, people are like, oh, that's childish. But hey, I'm a big kid. Yeah, so it is Social Sunday. Yeah, so it's just the three of us for the minute. Never mind, don't mind. In that case, if you don't mind, in my bar tonight, I'm opening a bottle of Merrydown because I do like a cider over a beer. And when I went to buy some cider today, because I don't drink that much, the brands that were out there, I didn't recognise any of them. I was literally looking through the alcohol contents and going, blimey, that's almost whiskey. So went for something I knew from my youth, a bottle of Merrydown. So I shall have a glass of cider and a cigar tonight. And it won't be too much, because otherwise I'll feel like crap in the morning. Oh, cheers, Lee. Cheers, Kaz. Oh, I forgot how much I like that. That might go down a bit quicker than I thought. Mate, nothing wrong with strawberry milkshake. In fact, I would probably be better off with a strawberry milkshake. Two reasons. One, I don't drink, so that's going to go straight to the old noggin. Probably give me acid reflux anyhow. Yeah, so maybe I should. Well, I'll probably think about that. But again, Social Sunday. What can you do? So I cooked the roast today. It's Mother's Day, and both our boys have grown up and left home started families of their own, so they're busy with their wives, and that makes sure all goes smooth for them. So Kaz today had roast lamb a la Mick, which was actually done in an oven indoors. Some nice roast potatoes, 3 veg, and a nice thick gravy with it. So that was done by me. And I will admit it came out smashing, but only because I had the voice of a good woman. Because it was like, how long did I put that in for, or what temperature? And the rest of it. So really, there's no skill. It was just me putting it in the oven, but it was rather nice. And the bones will go out for the fox tonight because she's got cubs, so she's a bit busy. The weather's warming up, so she doesn't need much help now. But yeah, at the end of the day, am I going to throw a nice lamb bone in the bin for the food waste, or do I give it to the fox? I'd rather donate it to the fox, to be honest with you. Gives her a little bit of help. And yeah, and when people talk to me about wildlife and helping wildlife, they often say to me, what can I do to help the foxes around my way? Hey, evening, Phil. How you doing, mate? Best way you can help foxes, to be honest with you, is little and often, and don't give it to them every single night. They come to rely on it. But if you little 2 or 3 times a week, a little offering of something, they'll appreciate it. It helps them, especially this time of year when they've got cubs and they're struggling to find nutrition. And everybody says to me, yeah, but town foxes all look big, fat, and healthy. Well, it's actually the opposite. They're not big, fat, and healthy. They're supposed to be a lean, mean fighting machine. What happens is they get overweight, and like people, they start suffering with heart problems, kidney problems, and the rest of it. Getting too much sugar and too much salt in their diet, that ain't good to them. So, at the end of the day, if you put out something for them, put out something that's clean meats, cooked meats, fine for them, they can manage that. Burgers ain't so good, but hey, anything that helps them along, But don't overfeed them, make them work for it. Keep natural. Best way you'll ever keep the rats and mice down anywhere that you live is if you've got a few foxes. Why they will always prefer a bit of live prey. Hey, well, there we go. So what else can we do? We'll have a sip of cider. Hi Phil. Hi Tracy. Oh, this is weird. Because I can see myself talking there and I can hear myself coming up downstairs. Oh, nice. Yeah. Do you know what? That is spot on. Yeah. You feed them, keeps them away from his pets. This is something that, again, I've done course of my life, growing up on a farm and doing vermin, animal control, looking after wildlife, looking after training estates. I mean, some of the estates I worked on were absolutely massive. They used to look after home counties, so pretty much everywhere in the southeast. I've been up to Strensall, around York and that, and also on areas in the West Country. And one thing I've learned over the years is we always have pest problems. No matter how hard you try, you'll always have a pest. Now, people say to me, rats and mice come indoors. Well, they do, but they're only coming indoors for one reason. They're looking for easy food, warmth and shelter. They don't want to be outside in the cold and wet. However, if you've got as my mum has found, she's got a bird table in the garden and she sees a rat on that bird table every single day. And he comes in, takes what he needs, and he clears off under the neighbour's shed. It'd be just as easy for him to come to her shed, but no, he's more comfy under there. He goes and lives under there. He never bothered the house, never come in the house, not interested. For any rodent coming into a property is a risk. There's all this noise, there's all this activity around them, which puts them at risk. They like a quiet place, but they come for the food mainly. If you put in food out for them, keep them satisfied so they're no longer hunting, because all animals are lazy, they will sit back and take it easy. They will sit back and go, do you know what? I can get my scoff there. I don't have to work for it. Yeah. 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 exactly. Always food around for them. And if there's, and do you know what, the rat, a lot of people don't like it as that. Got a lot of time for rats. When you think about it, though there's a species of animal that's been persecuted by man since dot, okay, but has learned that we, by our own error, are terrible at managing our wastage, and so they know it's easy food from man. We'll drop it, we'll put it out, we put it on bird tables and the rest of it. So they've adapted to living alongside us over thousands of years, and no matter what we've thrown at them, still there, still live alongside us, still manage, still get along, no problems at all. And in a lot of ways, they're not really the problem we make them out to be. Yes, they're a disease carrier. Yes, they will chew wire, but only in desperation, only when there's no other food source available. As for disease, most of the diseases that a rat will carry that cause a problem to a human being are diseases that we've either infected them with or they pick up from our wastage. Because in the wild, if you watch them, you'll never see an animal as clean as a rat. You know, they're constantly cleaning themselves. They don't like to be dirty. Very social animal. Their downside for us is their breeding ability. Um, and that is the downside. But again, that is adapted out of the ability to survive and thrive. Uh, just we don't sort of produce offspring quite that quick. Yeah. Hi. Yeah. And again, so if they have to be managed, golden rule is you either trap or you shoot, and the carcasses go to wastage, because one of the problems with rats and mice is secondary poisoning. And I've come across this a couple of times over the years where somebody's put bait down for rats or mice, poisoned them, and then things like the kites pick them up. And that's the problem. Kites poison as well, or the owl picks it up because the rat or mouse is being killed by the poison, not always very fast. So instead of seeing, scattering, going to cover it, tends to stay out, or it gets caught out in the open. And poor Barney owl picks it up and has a munch on it, and that's quite a sad way to go. So I always keep to basically snap traps, that sort of thing. Don't allow baits, don't allow poisons. I even had arguments. A couple of the ranges I run at one point, they when I took them over, they had one of the big pest control companies coming in, putting baits down, and I banned them. And I got into a hell of an argument over that because people were like, "Oh yeah, but we got to control them." So I'll control them. So I've got 2 dogs. I've got 2 terriers. Yeah, I'll bring the terriers up here in 3 weeks' time. Once all the bait's cleared out, all the rats that are poisoned are gone. I said, and I'll clear them out. And lo and behold, we did. We did keep their numbers down, and at no risk and no expense. And that was just letting the dogs run. You want to get rid of rats. All you need is Jack, or any of the terrier species really, but Jack Russells, Border Terriers, Patterdales, none of them will allow a rat around it. Once they know they're there, they are relentless. And the rats will either move because it's too risky for them to live there, and they will move, or dog chops them. Yeah, but that's wild rats. I've had pet rats as well, part as a study thing and partly as a pet. Came to love them and enjoy their company. Have ferrets as well. Polecats. I'm not much of one for the old white ferrets, and that was domestic ferret. But I did like my polecats. My first polecat was called Inky. Yeah, because I couldn't say the word stinky. Yeah, antifreeze poisoning. It's fucking cruel and terrible. Glycol, super sweet. It's almost like sugar. You dip it on your finger, touch your tongue with it. You'll be like, "Oh, that's lovely." very, 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 very toxic. It's dogs and cats are drawn to it, both of them. Once they've had it, they're stuffed. Funnily enough, I was reading up recently on some research guy that had consumed a large amount of glycol in Russia, and they couldn't figure out why he wasn't dying. And it turned out that he was drinking really, really powerful vodka in copious amounts every day. And it turns out that the vodka helps to, I don't know whether it's neutralize the glycol or break it down or what, but once the glycol's in your system, it's doing the damage and it tends to stay. It gets trapped in your kidneys and your liver. And it turns out the alcohol helped to get rid of it. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we've got lots of red kites, as Kaz was saying. We do have a lot of cats around here. Sorry, Phil, but then Tigger tends to stay indoors. He's got his territory guards, his neighbour's cat. But yeah, we do have a lot of cats around here. And I've had people actually ask me if I would shoot the foxes. Bear in mind, I live on a council estate, or what was once a council estate. Would I shoot the foxes? And I said, well, no, I can't really. It's not a safe backstop. It's not a safe place. And I don't really see them as a pest. And they said, but they'll kill our cats. Well, I'm usually there. It's very, 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 very rare that a fox will even think of going up against a cat. Yeah. Definitely won't go up against a dog unless it's cornered. It'll only defend itself from a cat if it's cornered. But they won't. They're not geared up to fight things that size. If a cat is wounded, it's very, very ill, or it's on its way out, yeah, the fox will then take a chance. But then that's the same with any predatory species. And all the time they've got food, they're not bothered. They take the easy meal. They're not daft. Yeah, antifreeze poison. I'd like to catch bastards that do, excuse my language. I'd like to catch the people that are doing that. Yeah. Give them a taste of their own medicine. Ray, hi Ray. Yeah, never late, mate. There's no such thing as late in my world. You're welcome. You made it here. Fantastic. Yeah, that's another thing. So secondary poisoning. Red kites are really prone to it because red kites love to scavenge. So if you've got rats or mice that are poisoned, kites will always come in and pick up the carcasses. So you see them quite regularly around here. We've got quite large numbers, and quite often we see them walloped at the side of the road. And people say, "Oh, how are they getting killed?" And it's unfortunately they're coming down for roadkill, and for all their beauty, the red kite is not the most intelligent of birds. So you know he'll land on that bit of roadkill in the road, and then go, "Oh, bright lights, bright lights, bright lights, getting bigger." And people don't see them or don't care. Hi Rick, how you doing, mate? Hope you're good. Nice to see you again. Cheers, everybody. Oh, oh, oh! I forgot how much I like to drop a cider. That's I'm on the little drop of Mary Down original, and I'm going to light my cigar in a minute. Yeah, couldn't get my normal cigar today, which was a bit annoying. My Henry Winterman's half Coronas. But what I did manage to get was a Villager, and that's for those of you who might know your cigars. That it's actually a French cigar, and because they like to be different over there, square cigar. Not a bad smoke. Very, I'll be honest with you, a bit overpriced, but I like a half Corona. I like a reasonably thick cigar. Don't. Oh yeah, gotta have what you gotta have. Yeah, and I shall introduce you formally now. Ray, Rick, it's Caroline. That is the good lady, Mrs. Mick. That is the long-suffering Mrs. Mick, the one that puts up with me. So, do excuse me. First puff of my cigar. Those of you that know. Um, Violin time. Yeah. Okay. Violin time. I remember that after sweating. I sweated today. I strove. Not only did I roast the lamb, but I went out and I caught the bleeder as well at Tesco's in the freezer. I won't say it again. Yeah. Yeah, so we're lucky here. We've got red crites. Oh, red crites. Red crites. I think the cider's always already going to me. Hey, hiya, Martin. Welcome. Glad to see you, mate. Hope you're good. You're just going to throw up any questions you want. Everybody else on the channel there. This is Martin. Yeah, he knew me when, how can I describe us? We were probably a couple of young scroats together. That's as far as we'll go with that. He's one of the people that's known me the longest, and a grand lad. So, yeah, as we're getting back to wildlife. So, yeah, here, species to encourage, species not to encourage. Okay, no. So, I'm not worried by anything personally. We've got red kites here. We've got crows, which I feed off top of the shed. Real characters, social bird. You can really educate them to work with you. 2 years ago, hi Mickey Lovegrove, how you doing? A couple of years ago, we actually got to the point where the crow would come down with his buddies, and one in particular would come and holler at the window until I put food up for him, which could get a little bit too much. Funny, but a little bit too much. So then you change it up. You start giving them challenges. So one of the things you can do that's quite fun with crows, you get the house bricks with the holes in it. I don't even know what they're called, but the house bricks with holes in. Feed your crows regularly in one spot, then put the brick on there flat and just drop bits of food down the holes and watch the crows deal with that. And it's fascinating to watch. Super intelligent bird. They will spend ages working it out. They will go and get sticks and poke them in the holes, all sorts. Absolutely amazing to watch and study. So again, with your wildlife, yeah, don't just think like I'll get food. I said, give it challenges. It's good for them. It keeps them thinking. And it stops them getting lazy. Really, it's one of the downsides of feeding things regularly. And you can do this with any species. Blue tits, they like a challenge. They like to work things out. Those of us that are long in the tooth enough to remember things like gold top milk. Remember how the blue tits used to be the bane of our lives because the blue tits would come along and peck through the lids of the milk, drink the cream. Okay, so there's a bird that likes cream. Squirrels, if you got squirrels, hours of fun on the range. I had a squirrel feeder, or it started off as a bird feeder, turned into a squirrel feeder. They would come every day, and so in the end, I got so fed up with eating the bird food so quickly, I started setting challenges for them. So the first thing I did was took the wooden pole out and put an 8-foot metal pole in, piece of scaffold pole, 8 foot. There was no way for them to jump up onto it, and put the table on the top, set it up. Squirrels come along and very quickly figured out, yeah, with a little bit of effort, they could scramble up there or they could jump to it from somewhere else. So I was like, right, enough of this. So cheap margarine, smeared the pole with cheap margarine, trying to prevent them from eating all my bird food. And lo and behold, within a couple of efforts, there's squirrels with greasy chests getting quite annoyed and that, unable to get up there. And after about 4 days, I came in one morning and this pole was absolutely clean of margarine. It had gone from metal that was white with margarine to grease the pole to nothing on it at all. I was like, how bloody squirrels are getting the margarine off of that? And likewise, this would happen regularly over several weeks. Every time they clean the pole. Hey Sam, hey, you're not late, mate. Don't worry about it. If you've got a migraine, mate, hey, if you need to drop out, I know what it's like. If you have to go for a dark room, go for a dark room, mate. Lie down, get some fluids into you. chillax, take it easy, but thanks for showing up. So yeah, look, this pole, this pole that I was treating with margarine to stop squirrels getting up into the bird feeder, it kept, all this margarine kept disappearing. I couldn't figure it out. And I had on a Wednesday night, we used to have night shoots there. So it's to go in at 5 in the morning, work through till, or run the range up till 4 o'clock. Then the training area would go unactive, start again at last light, and then shoot through to when they finish. Hi, Jim. How you doing, mate? Thanks. Oh, part two's coming. Pet raven. I had a pet crow as a nipper called Beaky, but yeah, ravens, they are super intelligent. So yeah, getting back to this pole story, I'm going off and diverging all over the place. Get back to here. I had this night shoot, and towards the end of the night shoot, the unit's finished up. I've got them sorted out. They've all DD'd. They're off the range and that. And I'm going around and basically it's probably about 12:30 in the night. So I'm bimbering around, making everything shut down, everything's secure, making everything good for the following day, prepping for the next unit. And I came back to my hut for a cup of tea, and I walked in, and also I look at it because we used to have metal shutters on the windows. There's noise outside. I was like, "The hell's that? Something trying to get in the window." So I had a peek, and there's just where the padlock went on the shutter, there's a little slot. I think it's my finger on. So peeking through there, and it was a roe deer. And this roe deer, I kid you not, I mean, this pole's 8 feet and covered in margarine, and it's literally putting its tongue at the base and going, and licking up as high as it can, licking the margarine off. So it was a roe deer that, for whatever reason, decided this pole had fat on it and it liked the fat. Just absolutely amazing. Yeah, Sam, that's a good tip actually. And then to any of you other guys out there that might suffer headaches or migraines, Kaz, my wife, she's suffered with them severely for many years, and we're both into herb law, old medicines, old cures, getting back to the nature thing, and pretty much we're pole dancers there. So carrots will ease migraine and quite often will cure it. Another thing that we found just lately, if you're having a high carb diet, that will also increase your likelihood of migraines, especially if you eat a lot of white bread. Got a few things sorted out that way. Magpies tapping at the window. Yeah, magpies, another stupidly intelligent bird. Absolutely bright sparks. What tends to happen a lot of time with window tapping, especially early in low sun. Low sun, you'll get the most amount of reflection on the glass on the outside, and a lot of these birds can be quite territorial. Obviously, see the reflection in the glass, that will draw them. But also, if they know that you're an easy source of food or an easy touch, they will come and tap a window. My crow would come and, oi, there's nothing out here for us, nothing on the shed. Come and feed us, we're all waiting. And there's a lot of research into crows and memory. It turns out crows can identify, or the corvids, shall we say. So that is everything from your jackdaw right the way through to your raven, can all identify a human face, not only as you're human, but as in a specific person. They can literally, once they know they can. Oh, Martin, you got COVID. Got no cure for that, mate. Apart from brandy, I believe. Brandy in copious amounts, and the slavery of your wife and children. Them serving you like the emperor you need to be, apparently, is a cure. I guarantee it, but it worked for me. Blueberries can, yep, undoubtedly so. Full of they are antioxidants. So yeah, there's a lot of triggers for migraines. Yeah, drinks, teas, coffees, any stimulant can trigger it. It ups the blood pressure. Also, crashing the blood pressure can cause it. And this is the thing: human body. You've got to find a line. And if you're getting too much of one thing, it can push the line up and it triggers things. Yeah, drops will do it as well. Yeah, a handful of blueberries. Normally, blueberries aren't going to be too much of a problem, but yeah, the other thing is you might have a mild allergy to them. That can cause it, or don't necessarily take it to blueberries. The blueberries, the chemicals in the blueberries and the natural chemicals. We're not talking nasty toxins and that in relation to anything else you've had through the day. So you can build up levels of antioxidants. You can build up too much B12. You can build up too much vitamin C. You can vitamin D. You can always. The company's always harping on about you've got to take these vitamins. You've got to have these vitamins, but too much of the vitamins, and they can become quite toxic, and they can make you very, very ill. Yeah, come to Mick for your countryside cures. Yeah. And of course, the other thing is avoid these, and really, truthfully, avoid that. Neither of those are good for you. Yeah, willow bark, fantastic. Full of salicylic acid. Been used by they're always referring to the indigenous peoples of the North Americas, but willows and birches have been used all throughout the Northern Hemisphere for many thousands of years as a pain reliever. Does taste gopping, and it's any of the willows as well. Various levels in the different willows, but yeah, all the willows were. And that was pretty much directly where they developed aspirin from. Yeah, low sugars, that cause a migraine. Yeah, almonds. Although poor old Sam at the moment suffering a migraine, crunching through an almond, mind you, I suppose it's like crunching through a carrot. It's going to be a bit much. Yeah. I'm just reading. I do. Excuse me. I'm just reading through the comments, watching your chat, and I'm actually thoroughly loving that because again, it's what I wanted to do is have this channel set up so that you guys could get to know one another. You could chat. It becomes a community thing. This is Mick's Pub. What should I call my pub? Do excuse me a minute. What was that, my love? Oh, how rude of me. Mick Health Up. Oh. I wouldn't say I'm an expert in health, but again, do your research. I mean, there's some really, really good books out there. A lot of the how can we put this? A lot of the old skill books, a lot of, and one's fascinating. And if you're interested in herb law, medicines, and that, and a lot of people first want to say this, poo-poo it, but this comes from generations of knowledge. Have a look under the titles Hedge Witch, yeah, and natural medicine. Okay, a lot of these people have been practicing for generations and have passed on knowledge, and the information that has been gathered is absolutely fantastic. It's a problem for a lot of people. Yeah, not enough water intake causes a lot of headaches, dehydration, and again, if you smoke or drink, that won't help you dehydration. Uh, I get people telling me, "I can't understand. I'm dehydrated. I've had 6 pints of beer." Well, ginger tea is a stimulant. Peppermint tea, possibly. Chamomile tea, definitely. A chamomile tea will help you feel a bit better. The other thing is with chamomile, it's good for fevers. It induces sweating. And a tip to you guys: if it gets really hot this summer, uh, chamomile tea bags, set them in a pint of water, two in a pint of water, put them in the fridge, leave them in there all day, and about 10 minutes before you go to bed, just sit there, slip it gently. And what the chamomile does, it helps to bring down your body temperature. The thistle and bark, yeah, thistle and bark, like that. Um, I was going to call it done roaming, but then I ain't done roaming yet. Um, a friend of mine confused the hell out of me. I won't mention his name, and you probably won't see him on the channel. Work with him a lot. What's his name? Bill, and ex 22, but back in the 60s and early 70s, very very old school. And he got a bungalow when he retired, and I spent ages wondering why his bungalow was called Thistledome. Every time I looked at it, Thistledome. Bloody hell's Thistledome? And I said to him one day, I said, Bill, why is it called Thistledome? He said, you're reading it wrong. He said, read it like this. This'll do me. And that was this'll do me. I was like, all right. So, help if you'd actually put some abbreviations and that in there. Witch hazel, cracking for bruising. Yeah. Hi, Ian. You ain't missed a lot. We've been waffling about what we covered today so far: pest species and how we managed to live alongside them. We're covering a little bit of herb law. Poor old Sam's bushcraft captain survival. Poor bugger's joined us as a walking wounded today, suffering with migraine. So we're all nattering about various cures and bits and pieces we can gather from the wild. And really, what I'm doing at the moment, I'm actually, hi dirty faces. I'm actually sitting here thoroughly enjoying this because I'm watching the comments coming up and just throwing in my bit left, right, and centre. God, you imagine us sat in a pub together, all sat around a table nattering. Maroon Mac, hello mate. How you doing? Hope you're good. Right. Yeah. Mixed COVID cure covered that. Well, Mike, you use my COVID cure, right? And let me know how you get on. Um, for those of you new to the channel, one of our visitors, Martin, he's suffering with the COVID at the moment, and I pointed out to him that to be served glasses of brandy by your partner and your children, and have them waiting upon you like I say God, like the emperor you are of your domain. That apparently is a very good cure for COVID. Um, Being fed grapes by the bunch individually, that apparently helps as well. A mother's meeting. Yeah, yeah. I suppose you Max specials are a good cure for COVID. Max specials will absolutely, undoubtedly cure almost any illness. Oh dear. That takes me back. That takes me back. I'm not going to say too much about that, but Max specials, yeah, they will cure almost anything and may even induce levels of unconsciousness, shall we say. Lee, you've been lucky not to get a positive test. Bless you, mate. I mean, anybody who can avoid that or has got away with it, it's down to one of two things: either blind luck or you've got a bloody good immune system. Cure or death, definitely. Um, yeah, so I think with this whole COVID thing, I think if those of us that haven't caught it are probably it's probably more down to immune system than anything. There, in every disease that's ever hit humanity, there are those people that seem to have a natural immunity, um, and their body deals with it, and they get away with it. Hi, Mark. Hope you're doing good, young man. Looking forward to getting you out up the woods with your dad and me, and you can teach him how to light fires properly using a flint and steel. How's that? Oh, no, no, diabetes isn't going to go. Isn't going to help. That's going to bugger your immune system. Excuse my language. That's the side of talking. Yeah, it doesn't help. Yeah, the jabs. It's like anything. You know, if you can have, don't you say inoculation. Inoculation, lots of people rant and raving about inoculation, but I tend to look at it this way. We used to have smallpox in the UK. We got rid of that via inoculation. We used to have polio. It used to kill thousands and thousands of people, and we got rid of that through inoculation. It's proven to work. It's whether or not you can trust the people that are developing it, how quick they've developed it, and who's behind it. And unfortunately, when things like polio were dealt with, that was dealt with from a humanitarian heart, shall we say. Nowadays, everything's about business and money. But we won't get into conspiracies. That's one thing I'll leave the conspiracies up to other people. I've got my own ideas, and it's the same thing with politics. One of the things I'd like, or three things I'd like to leave out on this channel: one is sex, one is religion, one is politics. We've all got our own paths, ideas, and views. Lee, your girlfriend's greedy. That was she's showing off. She said, look at me, look how good my immune system is. I've had it 3 times. No sex, please, we're British. Well, let's face it, there's 3 things you don't do in the pub. Don't talk politics, don't talk religion, definitely don't get anybody bent over the pool table. It upsets other people. Oh. Never been to a pub, Sam. I tell you what, now, Marooned Mac and me go back a long way as well. I won't get too much into what we've been up to in our lives, but for I think pretty much 5 years, me and him were like that, inseparable, in all sorts of things, in work. That we were buddies. We were literally oppos. We were there wasn't anything we didn't know about one another. There wasn't anything we didn't share. Looked out for one another, still do. But Mac, he enjoyed a drink, and for 5 years, I never ever consumed alcohol. Never ever saw me drink. We used to be in a lot of environments where everybody was having a good time, and he quite often turn around to me, or people would come up and they, "You want a beer, mate? You want a drink?" No, don't drink. Right. And then eventually one day Max said to me, he said, "You do drink?" I said, "Yeah, very rarely, and only when I feel I'm in an environment where I'm safe." The other thing is, if I get drunk, I'm an arsehole. So he said, "Right, one night I'm going to get you drunk." So we relented, and then one night I got drunk. Yeah, I won't go into what he said to me the following morning, but it was a case of he asked me never to get drunk in his presence again. 6 months rule. First 6, you wish you could eat it. 6 months later, you wish you had. Yeah. I'll tell you what, anybody, I mean, as I say to you guys, I don't actually drink. Since probably before Christmas, I can honestly, hand on heart, say I've had a couple of glasses of port, a bottle of beer last Sunday, and I decided I was going to have a glass tonight. And I'll be honest with you, brutally honest, the main reason I'm having a drink last week and this week is nerves. Yeah, it's quite unnerving being this end, and it just helps me just relax a little bit and be a bit more of myself. So hopefully you all liked the video this week. We're going to get out this week and have to do the next section. I've had a couple of guys get back to me and say, "Oh, didn't think much of your camp setup," but all I was trying to do with that was show an improvised shelter. And as I put up on the screen, bedding and that will come in a later video. What I didn't want to do, I just like to get people thinking about what they would do in that situation and how they'd manage it. And that's all this series of videos is about. Not everything I do is going to suit everybody. Not everybody is going to suit every situation, but it's more a case of Q Club and Borden. But it's a case of have a think about it to yourself. How would you handle it? And as I keep saying to people, the art of surviving any situation is preparation. All right, not only in equipment and gear that you're carrying, but in mindset. And I was taught by a very good instructor years ago, and he said, "Run through every scenario and every outcome in your brain. And if you do that, you're pre-programming yourself to handle the situation." And that then will help you deal with it when it occurs. So again, this scenario and these scenarios, I'm trying not to pre-plan them too much. I'm trying to do it as what would I do? What would happen? Where would it go? And obviously, it's situation weather dependent. So this week, they reckon we're going to have a lot of rain. So we got what, one, two Borden guys there. So I was up at Longmoor. So you might even recognise some of the pictures that I put up occasionally if you've spent any time doing the old perimeter track at Longmoor, the old railway line and that. You've gone out for a walk with the dogs and the kids. I know Borden very, very well. Yeah, so this week it's supposed to rain. It's supposed to be hammering. So I'm probably going to coerce poor old Jason, and we might run through some hypothermia and what to do if you find people or you get into a bad situation yourself. Well, Nicky, so you've been up on the Fibula then. Now, fighting in built up areas. Whoa. Yeah, it's nice up there. Yeah, so that's what we're going to do this week. I will probably throw some other sort of food source in. I hope you like the reference to looting, and it's an interesting thing with looters. They'll always take the good stuff first. Be interested to see in a grid down situation how many people loot themselves a new TV. Yeah, supposed to be. Oh, BBC's description of the weather for this week was biblical. Biblical. So, if anybody knows a guy called Noah who's rapidly building a boat at the moment, give me a shout. And again, if I've offended anybody out there as Christian, I do apologise. See, airsoft is something I can't play. I can understand the fun in it. I understand the running around and that. But the only problem for me, and probably Maroon Mac as well, when I take a room and I boot the door in, I'm not always going to shoot everybody in the room. I might get the odd person pistol whipped. Might get the odd one booted out of a window. It's purely simply because I'll probably get carried away with the scenario. Oh, Green Man. God, Jesus. The Green Man is now I think it's an Audi's. They put a big plaque on the side of it, that Bertham saying, call it the Green Man, still known as the Green Man roundabout. God, there was some nights in there. Yeah. Causing public havoc in public spaces. Yeah. Spending as much confusion, fear, and momentum into other people's legs as you possibly can. They did quite a bit up at the Fibula and the coin up there. Did one of those off Anzio. I wouldn't know. And it's nice to see you chaps chatting amongst yourselves. So I like that. It gives me a little bit of chance to think about what I want to say next and how I'm going to go. Yeah, Dirty Faces. They basically they sold off everything with the exception of the main use training areas and Longmoor itself. And now they originally were going to fence it outside the perimeter track all the way around Longmoor. And there was a big hoo-ha. People were saying it wasn't fair. They like to walk their dogs around the perimeter track and that. But it wasn't that was the issue. It was an issue of people going into the danger areas when live firing was going on. And it was happening at 2 to 3 times a week, and not just there, but all over the UK. Because the MOD had all MOD property is private, right? There's no access. It's been allowed for a long time because the MOD always had what they called the good neighbours policy, which was if you've got a training area, it's not in use, let the people in, let them enjoy it, let them walk there. Right? Keeps the neighbours happy because obviously we're making a lot of noise. The trouble is, as society has changed and grown, it turned into appreciating the fact that they were allowed to walk there to seeing it as their right. And it become an absolute nightmare. And it still is in a lot of cases. Hence, a lot of the fences went up, not just there, but all over the UK to try and keep people out of the danger areas. And it was down to 2 or 3 guys running to the health and safety executive, this big, wonderful government body, and saying, I nearly got killed in an army danger area. Nobody ever said to him, what did you do to go in? Right? How did you get in there? They just went, well, I just walked in. There's nothing to stop me. And so the health and safety executive turned around to the MOD and said, if anybody gets killed in there, you're going to be held responsible. Now, I know from my own experience, 5 to 10 times a day, I would have to patrol my ranges and ensure that every single flag was up, all gates were locked, and there was no way anybody could misconstrue the flags. And if it got to the point where you couldn't see a flag, whether it was weather conditions, whether it was a flag that dropped behind a flag pole and you couldn't see it from one direction, all training had to stop. And it had to stop until we'd gone in and assured nobody was in the area and the flags were once again visible to the public. The signage had to be put in position so that you literally couldn't go more than 10 or 15 feet without a sign saying do not enter when red flag is flying. And people still did. And that's what created the problem. It was the fact that an ignorant few decided to break the rules and then thought that they would, well, as one of the guys said, his original plan was go to the HSE, show that live military training in the UK was dangerous and a risk to the public and have it banned. And that's great. Where do the soldiers train? I thought guys can do it when they get out there. Oh. Yeah, one of the Great Centurions train robbery was filmed at Longmoor. Yeah, they got into a lot of trouble for that, the MOD. Story has it that when the film producers went to British Rail and said, we want to film all these scenes with steam trains and kids and all the rest of it, British Rail went, whoa, no, can't do that. Dangerous. You'll not be allowed to do that anywhere in the UK. So the movie company went to the MOD and said, we'd like to film this here. And this is how we're going to do it. And the MOD went, go on in. And it do it. And that actually led to the Ministry of Defence getting into a lot of trouble with the overseeing bodies for railways. Pretty good film, though. Great bit of fun. Yeah. A lot of history around there, a lot of history. I'm going to do a video in the summer. I'm going to go out and actually walk the perimeter track at Longmoor. It's 10k. It's nothing too huge, but you're actually following the old railway line all the way round. And obviously, being based there for years, I learned where all the yards and bits and pieces were. There's a couple of bits of history that are quite nice out there, which I'll show you. But yeah, and Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Literally, if you go down the A3, just before the Gretham Junction or the Longmoor Camp Junction, you've got the army camp on one side of the A3 and the training area the other side of the A3. That used to be a lane through there. And in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, where you see Chitty Chitty Bang Bang beat the train over the crossing, that is literally level with the camp, where you'll see the perimeter track one side and the camp the other side. And that was called Longmoor Halt. That was, there you go, bit of history for you. Yeah, that's changed a great deal now. It's got really great 6-lane. Is it 6-lane? 3-lane A road running through it. Yeah, but I'll do a video around there in the summer. And one of the main reasons I want to do the video is you can walk around there in the summer, and if you know where to look, you'll see a lot of adders, grass, snakes, and other bits and pieces. Yeah. Yes, Mac. This said, best mentioned. I think there's still a production team out there that probably wake up in the early hours of the morning absolutely terrified. Yeah. Yes. That was Channel 4's documentary on mercenaries. That was an interesting one. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. God, we had some fun. Anyhow, so where would you like me to take this next set of videos to? How far are we going to go? Do you want? Yeah, yeah. You see, literally the point where the car crosses the road. In actual fact, if you walk the perimeter track, you can still see the remains of the old crossing there today. Where do you want me to go with this series of videos? Okay, so I thought maybe 5 videos covering me getting home. What I'm going to look at doing is filming them, I think, in different terrains as well, but they'll all be applicable to southern England. So, uh, bit of downland, bit of heathland, that sort of thing. Just try and give you some ideas. Yeah, yeah, the old enclosure tank training area. Yeah, that was Prince Philip Barracks. That was one of their recovery areas used by REME, and where they did the driver training for the. Oh God! In fact, they did all sorts of driver training in there. They did recovery, and they did the Warrior. Um, the other thing that's still there was you run up. If you're driving up to the A3 from the Gretham roundabout, look to your left, you'll see a big concrete slope, and that was the old armoured recovery slope. West Highland Way, yeah, yeah, we're going to do that definitely. Did the rail route run round Alton? It did. So the rail loop ran out to Bentley, the military railway. So it ran out of Borden to Bentley, and it joined the main line at Bentley. It came back. There was several. Oh, it was a lot of mileage of railway track around Longmoor, including the 10K perimeter area. They had 3 different types of railway there, if I remember, including narrow gauge. And it was the Royal Engineers train training depot for years and years and years. The other side of it went out to Hazelmere and joined the main line at Hazelmere. And so it was used as a link between Borden and Hazelmere, the two main lines. And it was also originally designed as a way of bringing camp staff into camp as well as military personnel. So that was its main role, as well as obviously training the Royal Engineers on everything from bridging demolitions, train track demolitions, train driving, operating, because obviously the engineers did all the train movements back when. It was track laying. They did the whole lot out there. And if you go out and you wander around the area when the red flags are down on a weekend, and you keep your eyes open, you can see a lot of the remains of the old railways. Yeah, in fact, this is my point. I'll get out there. I'll do a video about it. It'll be a video based on that, and we'll have a look at the wildlife, some of the features and that out there. I will, out of respect to my old role and the guys out there, I'll leave a lot of the up-to-date military stuff out. Longcross, yeah. Yeah, Longcross. I can tell you about Longcross. Not a lot, really. I'll have a look into it for you, Mikey, and let you know. Yeah, we will be covering foraging for survival food and water supplies. I did the video on water purification the other week, and again, water in the UK, it's one of those things. We've got a lot of it, but especially in southern England and the Midlands, you've got to be careful where you get it from. We have a lot of sewage outfall, and a lot of these companies in extremely wet conditions are known to flush their tanks into the waters, which gets into the silt and contaminants. So there's a lot of bacterial contamination there. And obviously, we have a lot of road runoffs because a lot of our gullies and our road runoffs drop straight into water sources. a lot of salts, diesels, oils, and other chemicals. I'll be very careful with that. Godalming. No, well, Sam, back at Godalming at Hascombe there. My wife's from Cranley. I spent a lot of years at Merrow. You've got Hascombe, you've got a natural spring there at the side of the road. It's another place you can gather water from. There's natural springs all over the UK. We've got, I think it's about 12 in this area. I'm going to say this area in a 25-mile circumference from here. It's another thing worth looking up. It's a worthwhile thing looking up on your ordnance surveys, doing your research, find out where your local spring water is. These days, when water costs a fortune, if you've got a natural spring near you and you can go and source your water from there with a minimum amount of purification, yeah, you've got bottled water. Yeah, Hawley Lakefield, yeah, still is military, Hawley Hard and that. That was back at Gibraltar Barracks, used for watermanship training. Clanfield rings a bell. Clanfield. No, Clanfield down near Waterlooville, Portsmouth area, I believe. Yeah, down that way. Yeah. Oh, and if anybody wants to send me a message, ask anything, wants to join us for the bush camp on the 6th and 7th of May up at the woods at Farnham. Let's get my hands right way, not that one. That one. No, not that one. That one. Up there. That's my email. That is my personal email. Yeah, just send us a message. Let me know that you want to come along. Give me your email address on that, and I'll get it back to you. I'll get back to you. And likewise, anybody ever wants to know anything, wants to contact me, you can always do it via there. I check my emails 3 times a day. Yeah, you can always get hold of me. Yeah, Farnham. Yeah, I do quite a bit of training up at Farnham now. Horndean. God, I used to spend quite a few Sundays down at Horndean with the old banger racing. My brother used to be a banger racing driver. And I used to go down and have a go myself on the occasions. I had a little bit of free time. Yeah, good fun. Good fun. So, where are we on that? Yeah, Hawley Woods. Yeah, Hawley Woods is still Ministry of Defence. Petersfield and Waterlooville. Yeah, got you. Ray, right. For those of you that want my email address, it's druidmitch@gmail.com. So DRUIDMITCH@gmail.com. Okay. Yeah, Druid as in druids, Mitch as in short for Mitchell, gmail.com. Yeah, hit us up anytime, not a problem. Got a question, got a problem, need something you want to go over, something you want to plan, give us a shout. You know, if you're coming down this way, you want to drop in and have a cup of tea, yeah, let me know. Oh, dear. And as you see, the wall of kit's growing. See if there's anything up there you might be interested in. Oh, hey. Oh. Hey. Right. Got asked about my all-time absolute favourite bushcraft knife. Okay. Somebody said to me, and bear in mind, I love and I really approve of the Army Survival Knife because that baby will do everything you want. But that, I think is one of the best tools you're going to come across. A bill hook. Okay, there's so much you can do with a bill hook. For any woodland work, brilliant tool. You know, whether it be trimming, splitting, whether it be working canes, whether it be working wicker, an essential tool. Brilliant if you can find one. And funnily enough, the older they are, the better. The older steel ones really work at quality. Yeah, usual skiddling, absolutely brilliant. I don't know if there are any good army surplus shops in Portsmouth, mate. I will. You might want to come back and pause this. What I'll do. This is the guy I use, and he does do online, so it's not really an advert, but he's somebody that I use. I don't know how YouTube are going to take this, but I'll stick it up, pause it, and come back. He's also got where we go there. Coordination. Sierra Alpha Supplies. Look him up. See, he's got his email on there. Okay. Sales at sierraalphasupplies.com. Okay. Sierra Alpha Supplies. He's based in Fleet. He's around the corner from me. There's a guy called Simon. If you use him or you contact him, let him know Mick at Hampshire Outdoors and Survival sent you. Okay. Really nice guy. If he can't get it, pretty much nobody can. He knows his stuff. If you're looking for an item and you go to him and say, I'm looking for this particular item, he'll either find it. If he can't find it, he'll say, here's an alternative. And here's a tip for you. If he says to you, yeah, they're all right, but try this, go for it. All right. Done that for me a couple of times. Absolutely brilliant, honest, fantastic. And again, so good knives, bad knives. Okay, so every knife has its usage. Okay, now for a while I carried as a bayonet the AK-74 bayonet because it was a damn good tool and a brilliant wire cutter on it. And then I got one of these, which is the SA-80 bayonet. Okay, and again, absolutely no use whatsoever for bushcraft. In actual fact, personally, it's pants. It's got a weak point here, which will snap. As a bayonet, it's a good tool. You know, it's for what it's meant for. Poking in things is good. An exact copy, pretty much, of the AK bayonet when it comes to the wire cutter. If you can get it to function correctly. You put it on back to front. But yeah, the wire cutter on it, pants, rubbish. Got it hanging on the wall. Not a go-to piece of kit for me. So, and I've had a couple of people say to me, yeah, I'm going to get myself an SA-80 bayonet because they're cheap. And oh yeah, survival kit. They're pants. Don't bother. Don't bother. It's a wall hanger. That's all it's used for. So what's that good for? Other than that, as I say, two go-tos for me on most of my bushcrafting stuff and my survival side of things. I don't get into that too much, although I might do a little video on their use. And like I say, superb tool. I've put a lanyard on my bushcraft knife for this video, and that's my bushcraft knife. And as I said before, the reason I like this knife is it's got this textured handle. I've had this best part of 20 years. When I was doing game management, this was my Gralakin knife, and the reason I liked it so much is because of the grip there. I could shrimp down, drop my finger to just above the tip, and then use that to do all the McGralakin. Well, the reason you do that is you can drop your finger down to there, Let's try and demonstrate this on the camera so it works for you, so you can show what I mean. So when you're opening a deer, you're going to work down across the stomach, and any animal you're doing that on, the risk you've got is to damage the internal organs and then pollute the meat that you're eating. So on a knife like this, you can come down and your finger acts as a buffer. So just enough tip to penetrate the flesh, open the animal without damaging it. And then again, when you're working inside, you can drop down on the blade and control how much metal you've got in there, rather than working from back here and trying to scissor and saw. Don't get me wrong, there are times when you're clearing tendons and things, you want to be able to use it, but that jimping on that knife's absolutely superb. And 20 years I've had it, and I think I paid £35–40 for the knife. It's done me well, really done me well. Picked that up at a game fair. You'll see it on a lot of the videos. So again, and the other thing is time and practice. Get used to the feel of it, get confident with it, get used to the feel of the handle, how the knife sits in your hand, practice with it until you get to the point where you can pretty much do any job without thinking about it. And once you stop thinking about it, and it becomes muscle memory and natural, you're not going to slice yourself, open your finger up, damage yourself. Oh, Sam, that's awkward. That's awkward. Let's see what we can do for you there. See if we can sort something out for you there, Sam. In cookeries, love cookeries, good tool. That great piece of equipment. Get on Sierra Alpha, he can sort you out a cookery, no problem at all. And in actual fact, Sierra Alpha. So again, we'll give you a bit more of a close up of it. So that's my British Army survival knife. Okay, against my finger, that's the thickness of the spine. That's the profile of the blade. It holds a very good edge, a very true edge. You can use it for on your ferro rod on the back. And again, it's a nice blade because if you've got to find things, you can come down, get a good grip on that blade. You can work that edge, use it for paring and that. You've all seen me split wood with it, and that splits oak and all sorts. It just takes every piece of abuse and throw at it. Sierra Alpha supplies, I think the last time I spoke to them, they were between 45 and 48 quid. And again, that's a knife you're going to buy once in a lifetime. You're not going to break it. Even when you come down, I mean, that's a Webtex copy. That wasn't from Sierra Alpha. That's a Webtex copy, but literally it's the same factory, just with a Webtex stamp on it. The rivets, again, are humongous. You know, the handle is big, square, and it's chunky. Okay, and again, people sit there and they complain, "Oh, it's a big chunky handle." Yeah, it's a thing called sandpaper. Take your time, sand it till it fits your hand. When it fits your hand, you'll get it right. Okay, and that was the idea of them. These were designed originally as an RAF survival knife to go in the survival kit for pilots. Okay, to give you a knife strong enough to be used as an axe or in a survival situation. They then become a standard piece of kit in the vehicle recovery setup on a lot of vehicles. Land Rovers, Bedfords, all the rest of it used to have them in the vehicle toolkit. They weren't a standard issue to an ordinary soldier. A lot of the Spec Forces guys and other guys would get hold of them. A lot of, shall we say, fairly bright squaddies would root round in the vehicle kit, and there may have been the odd one procured for personal use because they are a damn good tool. They're not expensive. Don't get tricked into spending absolute fortunes on stuff that you're not going to use. Heine Heinz at the moment, I haven't got the catalogue here. What have I done with that? What have I done with that? Haven't got it here. Heine Heinz. Have a look at their catalogue. If you're looking for a bushcraft knife, they're doing one that's actually made in Ukraine. So again, you're helping to support a small Ukrainian business that's struggling out there. Sub 40 quid. Really good quality bushcraft knife. I'm actually ordering one for myself. Yeah, Panga, good knife. Golox, good knife. The Lofty Wiseman knife, yeah, that's a brilliant bit of kit. And that was years of trial, error, and development. But again, he's gone for what you would call an indigenous tool. And again, it's what it comes back to, isn't it? It's like your good old bill hook. You know, it was a tool used in the countryside by people for country tasks, which relate immediately to bushcraft prepping and survival. Okay, the Panga, the Golock, the Kukri, the machete. There's all sorts out there. They all basically were developed for use in their environment. The majority of them have a heavier front end, because if you're a little guy having to cut heavy woods and that, instead of having to drive it with your muscles, the weight at the tip carries the energy further into the wood. I'll make knives, Sam. I'm retiring from it now, but yeah, there are people in the community that make knives. That's one of mine. So that's one of mine. That's one of my small bushcraft knives that I made. Other ones I made a series of neck knives, basically that, designed to go under a t-shirt, will be worn around the neck. Kydex sheath, small, efficient, light, extremely sharp, easy to use blade. Again, so you can pare down on it for meat preparation, and literally all the edge you need. Okay, and that is a bit of 15N20 steel, comb steel. It's been acid edged. It's just knocked around now for the last 3 years. Goes out on some of my survival courses and that. It's used. Wessex blades, Jacklaw knives, yeah, they all make them. Again, it's all down to your expenditure, what you can afford to spend, what you can afford to manage, and don't feel, yeah, a knife is a knife and a knife. The more important thing to do. Yep, Mac, Gerber do one. When it comes to knives, it's more. No, there are crap knives out there, but even something like that bayonet, which is a piece of rubbish, right, in the right hands, will do every task you want it to do. Because I would have to sit there and look at it and go, okay, equate it to what I'm using it for. How am I going to use it to make it last? I mean, for a start, it's got no edge on it. But even a cheap and cheerful knife is going to do the work for you if you look at it and use it sensibly. I suppose what I'm saying. If a knife isn't going to be strong enough and to batten with, don't batten with it. Go to another alternative for splitting. Go to wooden wedges for splitting. I've seen some huge trees split with wood wedges. Yeah, Sam, do one on the knives you own. I did one a short while back. Yeah, it's expenditure. It's really, it's shiny kit. That's the point I'm trying to make. And a lot of it is shiny kit. We all. I've wanted a Lofty Wiseman knife for yonks. Okay, can't justify the money. I was going to build something similar at one point, but hey, do you know what? The amount of time that take me to do. So go with what you need. Go with what you can use. A small, sharp, and efficient knife over something that's fancy, doesn't fit your hand, it's too much to handle, or it's made of crap steel but looks bloody good, you know. There's another one of the neck knives up there. You know, that it's just simple little blade. Again, designed purely and simply to be a survival knife. It's designed to go around your neck. The first one of these I actually made for a farmer friend, and he wanted something that he could slip round his neck, stick down his front, because the amount of times he was dealing with livestock and he needed to be able to grab something like that to cut an umbilical cord or to cut baling twine or to release an animal that was caught in a fence or whatever. And he just said, I want a small, sharp knife that's not going to slip out of my hand. Hence, I came up with the finger choil there, really deep one. So you could really get a grip, you know. Your hand was not going to slip forward. If your hand, again, when he said to me umbilical cords and that, I'm thinking, right, bloody, it's a mess. Your hand's not going to slip forward. It's safe and you've got maximum control of it. And if you're working in an environment where you've got to be really sensitive not to damage something else, like cutting seat belts, okay, it was designed so you could put the hand, your finger around it there, slide under the seat belt, your finger between your casualty and the blade, and slice. And that's why I came up with that. There's a few guys, including a police officer, that had one off me. But again, I'm retiring for that side of things now. You can't make money at it. It's really impossible. Mora knives. Yeah, that's my point exactly. The Mora knife. Probably the best. I won't even say budget. They are budget, but one of the best knives you're going to have. I bought my first Mora. I was 16 at Jeffrey's Gun Shop in Guildford, and it had a beach handle, beach handle, and it was a plastic sheath. And I didn't like it at the time because all my mates had Bowie knives, and I had this Mora knife because it was all I could afford. But I thought it lasted me for years, and they're still going strong today. Yeah, can't fault them. And the nice thing is with the Mora is like an old Land Rover, you see. So you can have an old Series 2A Land Rover that you've bought for, well, so it wouldn't be 500 quid now, but when I used to charter and that sort of thing, you could buy an old Land Rover, an old Series 3, 500 quid. Right? Tatty, rattled, smoked, leaked left, right, and centre. Right? It was a tatty old Land Rover. You could turn up at the poshest game shoot anywhere in the UK and nobody would bat an eyelid at it. Right? You pull out a Benelli semi-auto and you'll get spat at. Okay? It's the same thing with a Mora knife, right? I get people saying, oh yeah, but they're cheap. You can pull out, you go to any course, any training, any qualification, meet any bushcrafter, any prepper, anywhere, right? And you've got a Mora. If he's going to say anything, it's bloody good knives, isn't they? You know, and sub 20 quid for some of them. You know, it's like when you're first starting out. How many times do you lose a knife when you were a youngster starting out? You know, whether you were doing something stupid like throwing it at a tree and it pinged off and disappeared into a hay meadow. Yeah, that happened to me once or twice. But again, sort of silly thing you do as a kid. But even as an adult, I've lost knives. You're doing something or a situation occurs, you put it down, you look back up, it's that gone. And then you start moving all the leaf and all the litter and you're like, it's gone. All right. I'd rather lose a £20 knife than lose a Ray Mears knife. I mean, if I had a Ray Mears knife, would I take it out? No. It would hang on that wall back there in a case. The case would have to be fireproof as well, because I tell you what, the money they cost. No. Yeah, you can't use an heirloom knife. No, no, and that's quite sad, because really they're there to be used. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw, and this is a knife was given to me, and I'm still doing research on it. So that knife there, not the best knife. So that knife there was given to me, along with the sheath. And when you open the sheath, there's a series of tools in it. And see, oh, go the wrong way. There's an awl there. There's a file and all sorts of there. Bottle opener, can opener. And the interesting thing is, when I first got it, I looked at this end and I saw this cutout here, and I thought, "Hey, it's a sheath knife." You turn it over, you go, "Ah, no, it's not. It's got to be a folding knife." But it's not a folding knife because there's nowhere for the blade to go. You push that, and the blade comes away. And it's an absolutely lovely design. Probably not the most practical knife in the world, but it's beautifully made. Now, it's stamped on it, on the knife, the sheath, and the blades, DRGM, and then it has a serial number. And initially I was like, DRGM, now I know that. Where's that come from? Where's that come from? And I picked that up from my army days. And that was the, what would you call it? It's a patent. Oh, yeah, I suppose it's a patent stamp. But that was used by the German government from the 1850s through to 1939. So any item that was made in Austria or Germany between that period that was designed outside Austria and Germany had to have that stamp on it to show it wasn't their design. Okay. Now that knife was originally designed and made in Sheffield, and then this is an Austrian or German version of it made between that time. And I'm trying to find out what they were originally designed for. Somebody came up with the idea that they were Boy Scout knives, but I've looked into that, and they weren't. They used a folding knife. Somebody else, so oh yeah, it's an SS dagger. No, it wasn't an SS dagger at all. It's not a Nazi piece of Nazi regalia. It is a huntsman's knife, I believe, but it also came with a file, very good quality file, screwdriver, can opener, an awl. So it was an outdoorsman's knife, extremely sharp. So alternatively, we need a good blunt-ended knife, even on an inflatable boat. Believe it or not, what damage you do? Yeah. So mine, I was looking at. Well, I can't go into it too much. I'll tell you more about it when we meet. Got a bit of experience with smokes, shall we say? One of the things we used there, and I'll have a look. Well, I'll have a chat. I might make you one before I come down. But basically, we used a blunt knife, but it was a hook knife. But there was literally, how can you describe it? I could run it across a balloon in any direction; it wouldn't cut it. It's like a seatbelt cutter. And again, that was designed for clearing debris from around the props and around the inflatables, and also doing rescue work, so that you could cut with it, but you weren't going to cut into something. And especially the tip was quite broad, so that you could push it up against stuff, use it as a pry bar. Yeah, we'll do that definitely. Yeah, Martin, that's a plan. I will leave that up to you. You sort out when you want to do it. We'll come down. We'll make that a video. We're going to do a safety sea survival boats video. How's that? I think everybody will like that. Again, it's a bit different for guys that can't get there or can't do that sort of thing. Yeah, good quality old multi-tool. So again, when we get back to the multi-tools, he says, where's his? It's out here on the table. We get back to multi-tools, and there are many multi-tools on the market. One of the issues with multi-tools is locking blades become illegal. So you have a decision to make: carry it with the locking blade, and as for many years I did, and I never got any problem whatsoever. Okay, but because the law's straightened up so much around here, I've disabled the lock on my Leatherman on both my blades. Now, this means that when I'm working with it, if it collapses, it's going to close. So the use of this knife is always away from myself. Okay, always away from myself. If I had to work it into something, I would hold it like that and then work it into it. And then if it does collapse, it's not on my fingers. So again, it's what we were saying on the other video the other day. You've really got to think, approach every task and just think to yourself, how am I going to do this? Okay. Because you close one of these babies on your fingers, you've got a world of hurt. It is nasty. Again, it's being practical about it. It's thinking about how you use it and how you work it. If you're of my age, you remember the old, I can't remember the brand now, but you either had a Victorinox as a kid, or you had this cheap little, usually lamb's foots type pearl or fake pearl handled penknife, which had little tin bits on the end and had the world's worst spring, and they would fold up on you like you would believe. But you got used to using it without it folding up, knowing it would fold up. You adapt, you're used to it. So again, going back to the old rule, if you're always cutting away from you, that's not going to close on you because the energy is coming this way, so it's forcing it open. Yeah, and of course, why do we have a multi-tool? There's my pan lifter, my wire cutters, and everything else. My nose hair trimmers in there. Little pair of scissors, cutting the clips off your fingernails and all that sort of thing. And a good Leatherman or Gerber or whatever brand you want to go for. It doesn't really matter. Find what suits you. Look for the tools. I mean, I looked at one the other day, and the guy's selling point to me, oh, it's got a detonator crimp on it. Why? Why the hell do you want a detonator crimp on it? She's an ordinary Joe Bloggs. He's not in the military. Doesn't do demolitions. But his big selling point of his knife was it's got a detonator crimp on it. I don't think the bloke's ever seen a det in his life, let alone know what to do with it. Yeah. So, and again, we see it all the Opinel. Yeah, damn good little knives. Yeah, cheap French knife. They've been around for donkey's years as well. I can remember them as a nipper. That was another good farmer's knife. Yeah, and farmers. Yeah, and don't mean it's any insult to anybody who is a farmer out there. I grew up around that sort of thing. A farmer will only spend money on something that's going to do the job well, efficiently, and be reliable. Right? Don't have the money or the budget to waste money on fancy things that can't do the job. And that, again, comes back to the practicality of it. Yeah, if you're gonna, it's like shotguns, okay? And so I wouldn't talk too much about guns on this channel. Shotguns. People come back to me and they say, "What is your favourite shotguns?" Right. So over the years, I've had Benellis, I've had Brownings, but at the end of the day, yeah, quality of go around dropped a little bit. yeah, at the end of the day, most of what I was doing was farm work, pest control work. Okay, I wasn't standing on a gun line telling somebody how I just spent £20,000 on this stock and had it re-engraved. Right, my guns had to work for me, so my guns of choice were an old Benelli semi-auto, which was a good fast gun if I was doing things like pigeons. Um, two, oh, God, now I've lost what they were. Bicles, was it? Two Bicles, which I still own now. In fact, I actually got three Bicles now. I got a single barrel 410, which is semi-moderated, takes a 3-inch suppressed cartridge. Brilliant for bunnies, close work, especially when you're lamping at night. I've got an over-under that I use for clays and again pigeon, and I've got an old side by side, which again is used for rabbits and the rest of it. I've got an old AYA, long barrel, tight choke. Originally, it was designed for goose. I find it's a very good short range fox gun. And on top of that, for my sport, which is practical shotgun, I have a pump, which is an M&P. It's Turkish made. Has a sighting system on it. Has a shrouded barrel. It is quite fast, quite accurate, and again has multi chokes, so I can set it up for whatever discipline I'm doing on the day. But again, the Bicles, they were the farmer's gun. They were heavy, solid, reliable. You could chuck it in the back of the Land Rover, bounce it around the field with you all day long, go to use it, and it would work. And if it gained the odd scratch, the odd dent, the odd mark, you didn't care, right? Because it was cheap enough to be used as a tool. If you go out and spend £160,000 on a Purdy, you're not going to take it out. Yeah, take the locking ring off the Opinel. That makes it street legal. Again, anything you do to disable the lock that can't be reactivated there and then, you're laughing. One of the things you can do with the Opinel is drill a small hole in that locking ring, put it on your key ring. Now, if the world suddenly goes to poo and you find yourself in a genuine bushcraft survival situation, one of the first things you'll do before you clear off is take that off your key ring, put it back on the knife. Because when you come to a real world survival situation, nobody's going to worry whether the law says it's a locking blade or not. Or when you go out to where you've got your permission or you're actually using it in your bushcraft role, clip the ring back on and use it. I believe they're a pressure fit. I think you can actually get them on and off. Sorry, Sam, glitching your end again, is it? I'll tell you what, I don't know if anybody's ever seen them, and I'm looking for one. I'll trade you up. I'm looking for a British Army penknife in stainless steel with the spike on it. I've got one without the spike, which was a standard issue. Royal Engineers and the Navy were issued the one with the spike. And again, that's one that everybody always says, oh, the spike's for getting stones out of horses' hooves. It wasn't actually. It's a marlin spike. It's used for actually repairing and splicing ropes and hawsers. That's what that was designed for. And again, as a bushcraft knife, if you've got one of those old army knives with the spike on it, it's a brilliant tool. It was favoured for puncturing the old square petrol gas because you just punch it through. But that's what it's for. It's a marlin spike. Yeah, oh, Franchi Spaz. Yeah, very, very, very good shotgun. Yeah, very good shotgun. Very fast, but you've got they're very ammunition reliant. They like a heavy cartridge. They rely on the recoil from the gas on the cartridge to operate. So they can be a bit of a pig with ammunition. Oh, gold dust Mac. I've been looking everywhere for one. I even thought of making one for myself. Sam, go get yourself a cup of tea, mate. Rest that migraine up. Go in peace, my friend. All right. Love those you do. Forgive those you don't. Peace of night upon you. Go get your head down, dude. All right. Get a good cup of tea. Turn the lights out. Cut the noise out. Rest it up. Look forward to seeing you next video, Sam. Yeah. All right. Or if you're coming back, fine. See you when you get back. The Springfields and DNA. Yeah. Yeah. Franchi Spaz. Yeah. One of the units I went to had that and the Remington 870, and watched them training with the 870s, and they would never go anywhere near this Franchi Spaz. I said one day, I said, "Why don't you have bloody good gun? Why aren't you using it?" Oh, prone to jamming. It's too unreliable. It's prone to jamming. We don't like it. And so I had a look. I said, "Can I have a look at it?" I had a look. Stripped it down. It's good. It's clean. There's no damage. There's no gunk. I was like, "Rob, what cartridges are you using?" And I was like, 28 gram cartridges. I was like, "Well, that's not going to cycle that. You got a 32s minimum." What do you mean? So your cartridges are too light. So I went back, so I don't know, about a week later, knew they were back on the complex. Brought some of my heavier cartridges in and so yeah, chucked them in a box and said, "Well, try that on the Franchi Spaz." And it functioned beautifully. And they were like, ah. But again, it was just knowledge. It was, I'd never actually owned one, but I'd had the use of one and knew that they were cartridge specific. Very, very choosy. Yeah. Never used. I tell you what, Jim, this is an interesting thing for you. So on these series of videos I'm going to do, and bear in mind that you guys on here tonight, I've got 11 of you on here out of 400 and some odd viewers. So one of the things I'm going to bring up, this get home video. Okay, I do a talk. Now I ride. Well, say I ride. I used to ride in my youth. I got brought up with an aunt that had horses. I had to work in the stables. I learned to ride, and I'm quite confident that I could get back on a horse tomorrow, and within probably a week of groaning, moaning, and struggling with me arse cheeks and my thighs, I could master riding again. So there's a Remington's 870, bloody good. The old Wingmaster, bloody good gun. Been in production for donkey's years. Solid, reliable. Do love them. Yeah. So again, horses. Somebody said to me they wouldn't walk back; they'd find a push bike. But again, I'm trying to reiterate. I'm trying to stay off the beaten track. So if I was travelling back on the road, yeah, bloody good. Now, there's something might be able to set up one afternoon. Get a few of us together. Go do some birds. Yeah. It's another thing I'd like to take the bush camp to. You know, it's like small groups of guys coming down. Not only do we do talks, not everybody has has a license. Now I won't do it online because I know that the firearms department don't like you discussing this stuff online. But I'd give a talk on how to apply for your license and the rest of it. Now, this isn't from a prepping bushcraft or survival point of view, you understand. purely from a sporting point of view. I thoroughly enjoy a bit of clay pigeon shooting. I really enjoy it. It's something I get a great deal of pleasure out of. And again, you can always, if it came to a survival situation, gives you the ability to take game. Okay. And again, I wouldn't, unless you have very specialist tools, equipments, and sets of skills, using a shotgun for large game is A, illegal, and B, difficult. But for small game, rabbits, ducks, fowl, that sort of thing, ideal tool. And we won't even go into the other aspects of that because they really don't like it. Again, somebody said to me, what weapon would I carry on my walk home? Well, I'll be honest with you, what I'd probably do is I'd probably go medieval. So I'm walking home in my video. The world has gone to shit. I'm trying to stay off the beaten track because people are trying to find resources that they're running short of. And they see a man with a rucksack. Right? I'm a target. If there's 3 or 4 of them, what's he got in his rucksack that we could use? You know, if you're carrying your axe openly, oh, there's an axe there. We haven't got an axe. We'll have the axe and take it off him. So one of the things I would probably do is, whilst I was in the woodland, is look for a nice piece of hazel, probably good and straight, okay, with an end to it, and I'd look for something that I could use. So I'd either look for a crook, or I'd look for a Y or something along that lines that you can use for many tasks. I would probably aim at it being about shoulder height, and I would look for it to be about that diameter, what we call a grip diameter. Okay, cleaned it up. All right. You can either bake it in ashes if you want to harden the end that it's going to come into contact with the ground regularly. One of the things you can do is put a bit of whipping with paracord around it, about 2 inches up from the bottom, stops it splitting. And I'd use it as a staff. I'd use that to walk home. It would be a third leg if I've got to cross water. It helps to take the weight off my back and off my legs, spreads weight a little bit, assists with balance on uneven ground. But also, it's a tool you can use to keep people away from you. Right. So if you do get a couple of guys suddenly appear in front of you that are being aggressive, you give them no uncertain terms. Lads, I'd fuck off because I'm going to belt you with this. Or if somebody did come into your personal space, so shall we say, you could use it to keep them away. Okay. So again, you just extended your arm, which is on average 2 feet, with another 4 feet. And it's 6 feet. You got somebody away from you 6 feet. So again, you could use it for that. It also gives the impression to somebody just glancing at you that maybe a chancer. We'll look for somebody a bit weaker and a little bit easier. That's in that scenario. Yeah, medieval people, why did they all walk with a staff? Exactly that. Third leg, protection. You can use it to rig a shelter on. Okay. It's an easy, simple thing. Yeah, spike on those penknives, absolutely brilliant tool. Brilliant tool. Marlin spike, 101 uses. I used to use mine in the Fibia quite often to disable the vehicle so they couldn't be rolled around. Just around all 4 tyres. Knocks a nice hole in those quite quickly. You can use it as a pry bar. Never want to use a blade as a pry bar, but the Marlin spike will make quite a good pry bar. Use it to open tins. Yeah, like I say, its main role was for repairing and joining hawsers, ropes, splicing, that sort of thing. Oh. 1 hour and 54 minutes. Well, guys, it's 10 to 9. We've been rabbiting since 7. I think what I'm going to do I'm going to call it quits there in a minute. I'm going to bid you all adieu. All right. Well, I'll do what I did last week. I'm not going to just say bye and shut down. I'm going to enjoy my cigar a little bit, have a sip of my cider, sit here and wind down. To all of you, right, I wish you well. I hope this week is going to be better than last week. And remember, as I always say, love those you do, forgive those you don't. May peace and light be upon you all. Until next Sunday, have a great time. I'll chuck out a little waffle video, probably about Tuesday. And I'm hoping to get the main video this week up as normal for Friday. Now I've learned how to schedule things. It means I can film it, schedule it. Whereas before I was like, I've got to be home. I've got to upload that. Okay. Yeah. Guys, take care. Be safe. Be good. Be crafty. Look after yourselves. Have your adventures. Have fun. Yeah. Have a top week. As Jim says, thank you very much. Mac, catch up with you through the week. We've got to talk about the West Highland Way. There's going to be an adventure. Yeah, onwards and upwards, go, my friends. So I'm going to enjoy my cigar. I'm going to look at the comments. I'm going to sip a little bit of cider, and then I'm going to go have a flick through YouTube, catch up with a few things, see what everybody else is up to. Guys, cheers. Have a great week. Be good. Mickey out. Martin, yeah, speak soon. I'll leave that in your hands. Whenever you want to do that waterborne survival safety thing, yeah, have a think on it. Hit me up. I'm available pretty much 24/7, mate. Dirty Faces, excellent. Love to see you. Look forward to seeing you next week. Yeah, cheers, Lee. Yeah, guys, please have a chat to your friends. Trying to push channel forward. I've got things here I've got to give away when we get to 500 subscribers. Yeah, do us a favour. Like anything you see. Yeah. You know, hit up Sam on his channel. Have a look at his channel. He's a good guy. I like the chest rig, Sam. Not my cup of tea personally. I don't like having things on my front too much. I like to have movement with my hands, but yeah, I can see where you're coming from. Enjoy. Be good, guys. It's all been good. Take it easy, Sam. Look after yourself, mate. Keep them coming. I taught Sam, do me a favour. Give us a mention on your channel. Buzz me nuts off to see somebody else mention me for once. Usually when I get mentioned, it's usually as a curse or a swear. You see what he's doing? And we'll see where we can go with this. Yeah, I do apologise for wearing a hat tonight. The shiny bit up there doesn't help. Cheers, Sammy. Take care, Blue. Rick. Good night, my friends. Lovely to see you. Look forward to speaking to you again next week. Yeah. Be safe, be good. Ian? Yeah, that's exactly it. Enjoyable chit chat, mate. And again, it gives you links to other guys. It's all a community. We'll build up, we share ideas, make buddies. You know, I'm hoping to do 3 or 4 meetups this year, and it'll probably just be any of you guys that can make it that want to come down. We're not that big at the moment. Nobody's come back to me on the bush camp so far, so might just be me and Jace up the woods. But anybody that wants to come along, drop us an email, druidmitch@gmail.com. It's just going to be a fun weekend up the woods. Not too serious. For those that just want to, I mean, if you turned up and said, I just want to put my kit up, sit in my corner and have peace and quiet, good with that. Right, I think I'm going to end the stream there. Guys, good night to you all. All my regards. Be good. Mickey out.